G'day, how's it going? We'll crack straight into it, eh? Cheers to Tony for setting this all up. We'll be comparing the SMGs on time to kill, and we've got it set to 300 health and combination shots to give us the most realistic time to kill. I've gone ahead and pre-filled out the most common SMGs, and I've got them all set up with how I would build them. So if you're just here for the builds, there they are. I put the MP7 here in the brown and the MP5 here in the pink. They're just a fan favorite of mine. I've always loved them. As you can tell, they're not greatly competitive in this Vanguard gameplay that we've got at the moment. The surprise one here, we've got the Mac 10 in here, and as you can see, it may be the worst at close quarters, but it's got the best drop off out of all SMGs and is a really good sniper support weapon. As you can see, the Armor Gear has got the quickest TTK right off the bat, closely followed by the Type 100, but at about 11 meters, the Armor Gear drops off and has a pretty steady drop off here, whereas the Type 100 holds the top TTK spot all the way through. The Blixen's got a really good TTK here, coming in at third, and then takes it into second when the Armor Gear drops off at about 17 meters and holds it right up until 21, where it drops off to be the worst at range. Then we've got the Marco coming in at fourth best TTK, but that drops off pretty quickly. But as you can tell, the drop off isn't too bad and it holds it reasonably well and pretty close in here with the Mac 10. So we've got standouts when it comes to TTK, but if we scroll back up and swap this over to damage per mag, we'll have a very different outcome. As you can see, the Marco and the Blixen are miles ahead of the rest of the pack here when it comes to damage per mag, and you've got the Type 100 almost coming in last here. This is why the Armor Gear is such a good weapon, because it holds its own. It's just a best all-round gun. It's got a decent TTK and it's got good damage per mag, and it's pretty easy to move. High mobility. It's just a good all-round SMG. All right, we'll jump over the top 5 SMGs and my build for them. Coming in at fifth, we've got the Mac 10. I've put this in at number 5 because it's probably the best sniper support SMG in the game. Could also run the Armor Gear for a sniper support, but I personally prefer the Mac 10. Pretty easy build, just like every other Cold War SMG. You want to run the agency suppressor, task force barrel, the Raider stock with this one, and the 53 round drum. You can swap out the Tiger Team Spotlight with either the field agency grip if you want a bit more control. You can run like Serpentine wrap or the airborne elastic wrap for a bit more ADS or aim stability. Or if you prefer an optic, you can run optics. Moving on to number 4, we've got the Blixen. Pretty basic build. We've got the recoil booster. I run the 17-inch barrel just for a bit more bullet velocity and recoil control. Makes it a laser beam. Always run the slate reflector. I run remove stock for that extra movement speed and sprint to fire speed. We run fleet and quick in perk 2. Tape to give us that better movement speed, aim stability, and sprint to fire speed. I run the 54 round. You can change this one up now as it's been pretty nerfed. The 72 is a good option, especially if you're running in quads. I always run subsonic. You can change this one up. I just prefer subsonic. I like staying off the minimap. You can run lengthened or hollow point if you want to get that quicker TTK time. And for the underbarrel, I run the skeletal just for that ADS speed and movement speed. You can run the hand stop if you want a bit more control, or the compact's always a good option to give you that aim walking movement speed. Coming in at third, I've got the Armor Gear. Pretty basic build. I've got the recoil booster, 315mm. Gives this thing crazy damage and good bullet velocity. You can, however, run the 550mm barrel. Gives you a lot more control and bullet velocity. Then I've got the standard slate reflector. Then we run the skeletal stock. In perk 1, I've got hard scope for that added control. Perk 2, we've got quick. We've got taped in our rear grip. I run the 60 round mag here. Subsonic again, you can swap this out with hollow point or lengthened. And we've got compact, so this thing is just strafing left and right. Moving on to our number 2, we've got the Mac 10 recoil booster, the 240mm just for that added fire rate. You can, however, run the 355mm if you want a bit more movement speed, ADS, and sprint to fire. It's a good barrel to run. Or you can run the 342mm, which gives you a lot more accuracy, control, bullet velocity. We've got the optics slate reflector standard. I run the Immorito stock. You can, however, run the folding. I just prefer the initial fire recoil. Perk 1, we've got momentum, and perk 2, I've got quick. Run taped in our rear grip, and I run the 64 round drum. Subsonic again, and we've got the skeletal just for that ADS speed and movement speed. And coming in at number 1, I've got the Type 100. This is just my preferred weapon. I can't get past the TTK. It's just a beast all around for me. I've been absolutely frying with this thing, so I'm going to stick to it. Got the recoil booster, got the 134mm rapid barrel, where we can run the 374mm for a bit more control, or you can run the light for a bit more aim walking movement speed and sprint to fire speed. speed. On the slate reflector, the folding grip, in perk 1 I run gun ho just to counter that sprint to fire time, as the Type 100's got a pretty big sprint to fire time. This really helps out. And we've got quick in perk 2. Because this thing's got a fair bit of recoil, I run hatched. Magazine, you always want to be running the 36 round mag, and I've got subsonic like usual. With the underbarrel I run the angled, just because it gives you that horizontal recoil control, which this thing has a lot of horizontal shake. You can however run the skeletal if you're just a beast and can control that recoil. Alright, that was my top 5 SMGs. Cheers for watching. If you like this video, watch this one. It's all about how to carry like an absolute beast.